Well, welcome everybody to the last edition of our topic here on these goals and coping strategies. Okay? It's sort of a summing up this time. So we've been talking about the difference between having these performance goals and learning goals. Performance goals being having to achieve something tangible, versus the learning goal would be just to do something, just to feel more satisfied, to learn, to become better at it, regardless of whether you actually achieve something or not. And these strategies, these two coping strategies, we talk about in psychology. One, these avoidance strategies, doing things to protect yourself from what you don't want. And then these strategies called approach strategies, which are more striving for what you actually want, or personal strivings, as one psychologist puts it. Okay. Now, it's interesting that a lot of the clients here at Sunshine Coast, and probably people in early recovery, they tend to use the performance goals and the avoidance strategies. And again, if you think about this for yourself, just think about as a drug addict, like, what do you need to do? You need to go for performance goals, right? Because you got to get the drugs. And the whole concept of learning and developing through, oh, well, that didn't work, that's not even part of the issue, right? It's like, no, there is a goal involved and we got to get it. And then even in a lot of life. So, for example, people here who tell their life stories tend to spend a lot of time on the work, on the job that they did, because generally speaking they were very accomplished and very good at it, and they could achieve things and got some sense of self-esteem from that. And they also talked about a lot of their strategies are the avoidance strategies, right? And even in early recovery, lots of people try to get the recovery by avoiding what they don't want out of life. And that kind of strategy, as we mentioned, probably doesn't work all that great. So lots of people happy in recovery, what they do is they actually have a learning strategy. I'm going to do something just because I want to do it. So I'm going to learn to play the piano just because I've always wanted to learn to play the piano. Whether I'm actually going to get any good at it, that's not even an issue. Or I'm going to speak up more because, I really want to get over my shyness of speaking in public. And whether or not I'm going to be any good talking in public, that's not really the issue. I'm certainly not going to be the best, but at least I will personally feel comfortable, right? And again, in addition to these learning goals, they generally have approach strategies. They're interested in what they do want out of life and pursuing it, okay? If you take a moment and think, what would it mean to move from this desire to achieve these outcomes and to avoid what you don't want, and shift that to a place where I'm going to do things just out of curiosity or because I'm interested in doing them. I'm interested in learning how to paint, even though I have no hope at all of being a good artist, but I'm just kind of curious about it. And into a place where I'm going to pursue things, not out of a matter of safety or anything, just because I feel I would be true to myself if I were to pursue these particular things, right? What would it mean to shift from the performance and the avoidance to the learning and the approach, right? Yeah, think about this, right? It probably would mean things like you need some self-confidence. You'd need pretty good self-esteem. You'd have to be true to yourself. You'd probably have to say, I'm worth it, I think I'm going to fight for my life. Right? You're going to have to, all of those things would be fundamental to making this shift, right? And so a lot of people in early recovery, this is a lot of their struggle, is to believe these things because generally they'll tend to have low self-esteem, low self-confidence. One of the things that we notice all the time with people in really early recovery is they haven't paid very much attention to themselves, and this sort of shift will demand that they pay a lot of attention to themselves. So a lot of these things are happening. But it's one of those dynamics that may in fact be necessary to lead the good life. I don't know of anyone in recovery who actually makes it if they operate basically on what they don't want out of life, and if they have this obsession to achieve. I always got to have the goal. In fact, I can't think of a single person I know who's happy in recovery doing that. I can think of a few dry drunks, but that's about it. But I know lots of people who are happy in recovery, that drugs are not even an issue anymore. And they seem to have this common denominator, right? They do things just because they want to. I want to go dancing. They may be the worst dancers on the planet, but it doesn't matter. They're going to do it anyways. And I want to do things like, I don't know, I always wanted to knit things. Now, in the old days, manly men don't knit things. But, I'm thinking of Rosie Greer, the big NFL football player, who actually really liked knitting. Right? These kinds of things. To approach that, these people seem to have the best recovery and seem to be happy in recovery. At any rate, stuff to think about. And next month, we'll be back with a new topic for you.